Welcome to the Two Boots Word Vault podcast. This episode is the first round of a poetry scrum with Thomas R. Smith, Dougie Padilla, and myself at the April 26, 26 Como Cottage Salon. All right, Thomas R. Smith.
Alrighty.
Yes, the curse of our age.
Switcheroo here. Okay. So I'm going to start with a couple of poems. I did a reading a couple of nights ago on Earth Day, and there was a guy that I didn't know, maybe in his 40s, came up to me afterwards and he said, "Oh, you've had some losses." And just looked at him. He was in his 40s. Yeah. I'm in my 70s. I remember when I was in my 40s, I thought, why the hell do all these older poets just write these damn elegies all the time? But now I know. Now I know. Yes. I'm gonna read a poem for our late publisher Scott King, from Red Dragonfly Press, who was kind of a Renaissance man, and that's putting it mildly. He was a publisher, a writer, a poet, and also quite a citizen scientist. Maybe better than citizen. He was a real entomologist, and after his death, I found my own attention to insects starting to increase. And this is one of the poems that came out of that. It's called "Missing the Insects." In a small box on my bookshelf, I keep a few fond insect relics. Stubby dog-day harvest fly cicada, silver-spotted great spangled fritillary, red-streaked red admiral, red admiral, maybe they're really red admirals though, and most exquisitely beautiful, a giant leopard moth with tiny black circles inked on white wings. Each of these I found lifeless on my daily walks and took home, not to collect, but to admire and cherish for its company on this earthly rock. It is January, my birth month, and also the birth month of my friend Scott, who truly opened my eyes to the beauty of these often extravagantly strange creatures with whom we share the planet. Today I am thankful that Scott did not die in winter, bereft of his beloved bees, flies, and moths, but that death stayed its hand until April, with some of those countless small lives already stirring and making their presence known in the early spring wind and sun. For once we have taken their good to heart, it is a new discipline to live in the time without them, to trust them held in the frozen care of the season, which exerts its rigors upon us and can seem an actual cruelty, though nothing like that glacier of human cruelty, war and violence grinding over us each day. In winter's sterile landscape, I am heartened to look back on my beautiful husks, reminded that these marvelously conceived wings will fly again on other bodies, though now enwombed in earth, awaiting the quickening touch of springtime to rise again on the breezes of a world made new each year, that never gives up believing in itself, even when our uncertain spirits, wavering, forget past joys. I think I'll pass it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We're not really strumming here, we're just doing
Yeah.
what we feel like.
So I want to welcome you all to my home neighborhood of Como Park. I grew up on the south side of Como, and I wanted to write a bit about, well, I have written an entire manuscript about my time in Como, but it's not quite the stuff that I usually write. But I did want to honor my working class neighborhood, and with the words out there with this Iran nonsense, and the words of the possible draft coming back. I wrote this a while ago, and it's about my time when I was drafted back during Vietnam, and my buddies. It wasn't until I was 30 years old that I actually started spending time with people who were not in the working class. And at that age, moving in, spending time with people who were more highly educated or had grown up in a different environment, my sense of the working class grew in appreciation. Because I'd go someplace, I would feel, especially when I was working in Frogtown, and we were asking for some help, and the great liberal minds would come in and they would be arrogantly telling us what to do and not asking us what we thought we should do. There was an arrogance that came there. I wanted to come back. Last year I was asked to read with some veterans from the Vietnam War, and because I wasn't a veteran, and I had read this poem once before, they asked me to represent the other side, the grief side. So this is Don't Forget Gramps, and it's not pleasant. There'll probably be a lot of discomfort as I read this, and I promise all my work today will not be uncomfortable. But this is not comfortable. And poetry is not always comfortable, because poets are looking to find the balance. Don't forget, Gramps. Don't forget, they called me Gramps. By 18, I had gray hairs among the dark ones, and I wore a necklace of boils and an acne scapular. Beneath my work shirts, I wore piebald T-shirts, stained back and front with blood and pus. Yet, the curse of acne was the blessing. It was the blessing when I ran out the front door of the Federal Building's induction center and headed home, rejected by a gentle army doctor. Everyone else went out the back door, boarded a bus to the airport, and flew to Fort Bragg and basic training. 6 months later, they camped along the Mekong. Don't forget how Crazy Bob, Sneaky Pete, Cootie, and Steve Areno came back from Nam, howled with me, their sidekick and documentarian. They yelled at me, "Tell our tales, fucker. We're all mother scuzzers, all of us, and we'll stay that way till we die." Don't forget the camper without tie-downs and Crazy's pickup, tearing 80 miles an hour on the interstate headed for the North Shore. And we mocked the wind as it lifted us 4 inches off the pickup's floor. And we yelled and begged Bob to drive 90. Don't forget smelt fishing beside Lake Superior. Cootie, Sneaky Pete, and Crazy Bob. All of us in chest waders, dipping oversized nets into icy Knife River current, trying to scoop schools of horny silver fish. We mostly failed and didn't care. Don't forget those few smelt like scaly pricks in a bucket while we drank to oblivion. Sneaky Pete and I stuffed a smelt down the back of Cootie's pants after he had passed out, and he rolled in his stupor, squishing and scratching, mooshing and mashing fish flesh into his hinders crack. Hours later, when he woke up, stinking and unfazed, he laughed with us at his own mess. Then Strawberry came back, yowling like a panther. It's not me, it's the rest of the world. He had eaten shame. In the Marine Corps and in his father's home, he ate shame. He nearly drowned in a training pool because he couldn't swim, especially with a backpack. You're no Marine, Strawberry, the sergeant laughed as he sank like a big rig's gearbox. They yanked him out, flopping like a bullhead without whiskers. While driving semis in Okinawa, he volunteered 4 times to go to Nam, and they turned him down. You're no Marine, Strawberry. 2 years after his honorable discharge, he strung himself from a pipe in my basement, strangled himself while gurgling on the phone with his ex. Then Crazy Bob caught his wife humping his best friend. Bob drove his Harley 100 miles per hour off a dead man's curb, long before Thelma and Louise did it movie style. Steve Areno, the sniper, returned from the jungle with his feet crusted and stained to black. He bragged that he changed his boots only twice during his year-long tour. 10 years later, he divorced Crazy Bob's sister and finally married his high school sweetie. Then he began to suffer the migraines. He hit her once, went into his bedroom, put a pistol in his mouth, and sucked lead. His dad, a World War II vet, offed himself in the 50s. His stepdad, a Korean War vet, did it too in the 60s. We blamed his icy-eyed mother. We were wrong. After Nam, after smashed cars and mashed fists, after fights and cackling, crackling liquor days, Cootie asked 27 women to marry him for love. I witnessed 6 sincere proposals. In '83, I won a literary prize in the humor category for my short story about Cootie's fractured love life. After 30 years and a few divorces, his heart gave out to the weight of his drinking and nightmares he could no longer withstand. Cootie met Sneaky Pete right before Pete left Nam, and Pete, minutes before he flew out of Nam, locked his sergeant in a remote meat freezer. Once back in St. Paul, he spent his money and lost his money on hookers, craps, and painkillers. Then he simply disappeared into a suburban fog. In the 70s, Crazy Bob and Strawberry were the first to leave the neighborhood and the planet. Steve Areno waited until the 80s. In the 90s, the old neighborhood died for me. I married, gathered my boy and wife, and moved out of state into bucolic isolation. What do I do for my neighborhood friends? Sprayed like high-octane fuel through the cultural carburetors into the cylinders of hatred's machinery. What do I do with this neighborhood's compost but turn it and turn it and turn it with the pitchfork of my pen till it's shit so old it's sweetness? What do I do because they once yelled, "Don't forget, Gramps. Don't forget our tales, our scuzzer tales. Don't forget, Gramps."
Wow.
Well, I guess I'm not going to read a heavy pen. I noticed that as much as Tim says we're not scrumming, we are in fact scrumming. Because I just changed what I was going to read 4 times while you. So
I don't blame you.
yeah. Okay, so after that, I'm going to read this. It's called Sea of Donkeys. I don't understand celery, how it maneuvers, what its plan is, why it always wants to debate politics. And I'm not really that close to celery. I certainly wouldn't count celery amongst my closest friends. And my God, why does celery always show up at the wrong moments? Like when the priest arrives and forgets to say grace before the meal. It would be nice if celery was more helpful. See, I'm trying to I'm trying to lighten things here.
I got it.
You got it? Okay, one more in that vein, and then maybe I'll smack you in the head. This is called lime carrot jello. Who invented these goddamn squirrels? Probably the same guy that gave us Wall Street, auto pollution, and lime carrot jello.
You got a green theme here?
I've just got a lighten it up, Steve. This way. Okay, now I'll sneak in for the sucker punch here, but maybe not. Actually, I think I'll go middle of the road a little bit. Hope everybody remembers Federico Garcia Lorca, the great Spanish surrealist poet of the 20s. One of the best of the poets of the 20th century.
They just found a new poem by him.
Did they really?
Yeah, in the back of somebody's manuscript.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, one of the best. And here's a quote. 1,000 violins fit in the palm of my hand. Well, that can't be easy. 1,000 violins take up quite a bit of space, even if they're those small ones you see the 5-year-old Chinese American kids always practicing on in People magazine. Unless, of course, the palm of your hand had grown to be the size of a railroad station in suburban Connecticut, the one where Martha Stewart arrives after a long day on set. Or maybe the palm of your hand is now the size of an old gray grain silo, like the ones you see on the big dairy farms over in Buffalo County, off of County Road K by Erna, north of Nelson. No, Garcia Lorca is no small magician. No fakir laying by the side of the road on a bed of nails in the hot, hot Bangalore sun. No street-side card shark, YouTube wannabe, operating the sidewalk cafes of Old Town on a touristy Chicago summer night, playing cards flying in every direction. No, Lorca was exactly the true thaumaturg. For those of you who know thaumaturg, magician. The one who used words as spells, the same way watercolors are garden roses. And garden roses are footsteps in the hall. And footsteps in the hall are the new green sound of eggs. And the new green sound of eggs is the next generation of lovely young Romanian dancers leaping and catapulting and prancing into the absinthe licorice evening light.
Yeah.